I was here at Franklin's. We were kind of doing a tour. We're doing some videos here, and I ran into Alex. We just immediately hit it off. And so bringing her onto this podcast is huge. I think the energy, the conversation we'd already had was fantastic. So let's bring it up to the people at home.
Let's do it.
Sharing it. Okay.
Amazing. Let's go.
Alex, tell me a little bit about yourself, because like we immediately had a kinship because of entrepreneurism, and you've already had some exits.
Also, you're spreading inspiration and positivity, and I'm like, this is my guy. Yeah, nice to meet y'all. My name is Alex Poscente. I'm from Dallas, Texas originally. Should I talk to you?
Yeah, either one. Yeah, talk to me. It's fine.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I founded and scaled 2 global companies. One was called Bits Crypto, which was essentially acorns for crypto, spare change roundups, reinvest into cryptocurrencies. That was acquired last year. And then I built and scaled this company called Ivy Insights 5.5 years ago when the pandemic hit, as one of the first remote workplaces for students and graduates in college to find jobs. And then scaled that up, beautiful cash flowing business. And then this past year, when I was like, TikTok bid was kind of, set in motion, I had sold Bits, decided to take that and turn it into an app studio where I build apps for influencers to monetize their entire audience.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. Okay, so
there's a lot.
There's a lot there. So first of all, that's a lot that we just had to digest.
I know.
Okay?
And we're digesting barbecue, mind you.
Yeah,
So
and the barbecue.
There's a lot to digest.
Yeah, it was worth the line.
Yeah.
But
what'd you get?
I got the brisket.
It's good.
It was so good.
Really
We got 2 pounds, and I pretty much ate the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, and 2 sandwiches, but I took a little bit.
I'm impressed. I'm really impressed.
So good. You could do a brisket place. It's like you got to get brisket.
100%.
So, it's like other people get. There's other stuff on the menu. I'm like, why don't you just have one item?
I know.
It was so good.
Yeah.
That gave us the tour in the back, and anytime there's excellence in anything, that's what I love. Capturing, right? Totally. So tell me, I know that you've gone through some adversities along this way, right? So there is no way that you haven't had some stumbling blocks along the way or different things. So talk to those leaders, aspiring leaders, those entrepreneurs that what drives you, I guess, is another question. So what are those stumbling blocks you've had? And then what drives you to be who you are and what you want to continue to do?
Yeah. So 2 different things. To answer the obstacle question first, I'd say my biggest piece of advice for founders is to figure out what markets or industries are shifting, what's hurting, what spaces are not necessarily booming, because that peak has already somewhat been hit, right? You've already hit the upward trajectory. When you're in a recessionary time, when funding seems super tight, when people aren't going on the vacations, that's the best time to build, because that's a contraction in the market. When you feel like you shouldn't go on that fun trip with your friends or buy the house because you'd be saving, it's a really good signal of okay, the biggest players in the market, they're going to stick around. The smaller entrants are just going to disappear over the next turn. So obstacles I faced, it's crypto was super up and down, and it was just incredibly volatile as an industry. And we decided to launch Acorns for Crypto in 2021. So the cycle was really high. We closed a couple million, or a little bit under 1.5 million.
Talk about what Acorns for Crypto was.
Okay.
Or is.
So
still going, right?
Bits, when it was acquired, it was basically
Okay.
Acquired by the parent company, Tronic. But anyway, so when we first launched it, and it's spare change roundup. So you get a cup of coffee, it's $4.50. We'll round up to $5 and take that remaining 50 cents, invest it into the crypto market for you. And so what we did is we were okay, let's do it. I invested in Bitcoin in 2016. So I got in relatively early, considering,
Yeah.
Anyway, so we raised the money.
It's about what, $6,000 then? 5?
Who knows? I actually don't even know the password to the account that I bought it in.
Oh my God.
Which is really tough. That's adversity.
That's what I see right there, where you're I have 15,000 coins sitting there. And that's where people are there's 22 million coins, but
no idea.
How many are actually out there?
Oh,
12, 15, 15? There's nowhere near as many as.
But the point is, market was super hot. We raised money really quickly. And then literally 6 months later, no one was touching crypto. No one was investing in it. Everything pulled out, right? It was really, really hard to, 1, market a startup, 2, grow a consumer tech platform,
right.
And then 3, raise extra money if we needed the funding, right? So in it, we had to get extremely creative we couldn't afford the customer acquisition cost in crypto was at minimum $150 per person.
Wow.
And when you're on a budget of a startup, you have $5, $6, $7 to spend per person. You have to get really creative. So we ended up using that adversity to find creative ways to get users. So like we started trending pretty frequently on Reddit. We would find these like subreddit topics and just like artificially produce content and make it auto rank in the system, which I can go into that later. Or like, you know, I've like spoken a bit about this. We would use like, you know, famous people go to their parties, like have our merch like set there. We would have really funny campaigns at every single conference. So yeah, we just get really creative with how we marketed. More recently though, this is the opportunity for people who are listening now. There's the greatest wealth transfer in history that's happening. It's $124 trillion being passed down from baby boomers to Gen Z millennial. Have you heard about this?
Yes, I have.
It's massive. This is like multiple country GDPs that are being transferred from one generation to the younger generation, specifically in America, where there isn't a lot of, you know, there aren't a lot of touch points between those two generations to actually transfer wealth, right? So my recommendation to founders, to young people who are starting is like, figure out what's at the intersection of that wealth transfer. Create like a brokering marketplace for businesses. Actually, you know, what are the guardrails? Because you could make an AI that's, you know, facilitating this transaction for you.
Right.
I started this one. Now I run a venture studio where I build apps for influencers.
Perfect.
And I build a viral app with them. We try to build it to sell as quickly as possible. And then it's a venture studio that just launches random things. So we just launched something called My Land Flow.
Okay.
Which is about taking inherited land and turning it into a profit generating piece of property.
Perfect.
So it's like,
there's so many people that have land that they're not figuring out ways to monetize it. There's 100%. A ton of things. I mean, there's things even as simple as Harvest Host or Tenter or, you know, I just met like a big rig place that like if you have places near a highway to park like trucks, it's $20 a night. Like
exactly.
That's $200 a day.
Yeah. So
no overhead.
100%. And so the thesis is, okay, everyone's scared of the market right now. People, like you saw, I mean, I'm sure all the big hedge fund guys, they all pulled their money out, right? They're holding on to cash.
Yep.
So that's a signal of like, okay, people are either, it's a really good time to build new businesses, hold on to cash. I'm not an investment advisor, so take it with a grain of salt. Or invest in, you know, projects in like 6 to 12 months from now. What I think is going to happen is a lot of the big, beautiful bill. Did you see this?
I saw some, but tell me where you're
basically
going.
A lot of the green tax incentives have been rescinded and pulled. So I have a thesis that a lot of this land is going to go up for sale for cheap because banks might be, or private equity firms might be over leveraged. It's not good collateral anymore. They're just like, you know what, let's get rid of the land because we don't have the tax incentive on it anymore. Right. I think these wealthy people are going to buy the land, and I think young people inherit the land. So at the intersection of great wealth transfer, I'm like, okay, I'll ship this idea that monetizes land that you inherit, and I outbound and send it to developers immediately without doing any of the work, right? So it's just like a land arbitrage play. But anyway, yeah, I guess like anytime there's a lot of chaos, like that's opportunity to just capture so much space.
Exactly. So other advice you'd give to people right now, like maybe that have not been in crypto at all? Because I mean, there's a lot of people that are scared. How do you enter? How do you do that?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's people that are just taking baby steps right now. Like I've been aware of Bitcoin since it was $1. I didn't take advantage of that because I thought it was a multi-level Ponzi scheme, right? So I'm like, and I already lost a bunch of money on other stuff. Yeah. But it's like, you know, you can't regret that. You have to still say, okay, if it's at like right now, it's at 115,000 a coin, like, is it going to be 700? And part of that is because the dollar has been, you know, deflating as well, unfortunately, because of the amount of debt we do have.
Right.
Like it's going up, but it's going up more significant to things that are being devalued. So all of a sudden you have this parabolic movement, and that's what everybody's been talking about. Could it happen this year? Maybe. Could it happen next year? Maybe. I mean, we don't know when. Yeah. But everything seems like it's going that direction. Talk about that a little bit. And this is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice.
Right.
This is me.
And there's a ton of scams out there too. So don't go for those. Yeah. If it's too good to be true, don't do it.
100%. So, I've lost so much money in crypto. It is insane from being scammed or whatever. So that's why I'm like, this is not financial advice. Yeah. It is like truly an alternative, really volatile asset. The way that I see crypto, and I don't necessarily think this is communicated that frequently or that well. I see like when you invest in a cryptocurrency, you're investing in the stock of the company or the project that is actually making that coin. Right. So like when I invest in Solana and I hold Solana, it's because Solana is an actual foundation and they have technology. It's a full ecosystem where people are creating really easy dev tools for people in crypto. So it's like, okay, It's super high fidelity. It's really low cost. I like that for Solana. It's more competitive than Ethereum. So to me, at least, like I am going to invest in that project, i.e. buy the cryptocurrency. So I would say instead of investing purely on hype in crypto, really study the project, because end of the day, that's what's going to drive the price of the coin. And a lot of people don't talk about that perspective. I'd say it's more like how active are the group chats or the Twitters, whatever. But it's just commoditized. It's like overrun by bots. You don't know exactly what's true, what's not. So I would go for like what thesis you really like. Meme coins generally, I think it's a race to the bottom. You can make a pretty penny pretty quickly, but it's not something that I would put like
It's
my
like
life
penny
into.
stocks. It's things
Exactly.
the way that, maybe, okay, it's 2 cents, but you just lost your $100. So you just lost.
100%.
Like, so, yeah. And
so it's just it's not worth the risk to me. It's like, and if you have 10 grand that you're like, there's this meme project, I could go to 100, whatever, just put it into Bitcoin instead.
Yeah.
For anyone who's just starting as well, I mean, if it's too intimidating to like look for the projects you like or understand what Web3 ecosystem means and like what blockchain technologies are relevant, whatever, because it can get really heady and kind of confusing. But you want light exposure, go through a centralized exchange, go through Coinbase, like invest in Bitcoin, have it in a place where you can just get really light exposure to the blockchain scene without having a full decentralized experience. Because I think that's like,
agreed.
Also you lose people there.
That's right. That's right.
So I think
I was lost. I was like, it took me a while to actually finally sit down with someone and say, tell me about this. You've been like an evangelist forever, but like, tell me about it. And that was like in 2016. It still took a longer period of time for me to even know how to enter the market, because that was so archaic and weird at that point.
Yeah.
Now Coinbase has made it so easy. You could actually just connect your bank accounts, things like that.
It's
a legit company.
Totally.
Right? So it's,
we like partnered with Coinbase on a lot of our like micro investment side. So that was actually the infrastructure that we partnered with on it.
Perfect.
But yeah, I'd say that's my light tip on like getting into crypto. Start with centralized, understand like the biggest players, look at the top market cap coins, and actually dive into each individual project. And you'll see it's like all these cryptocurrencies represent worlds. Imagine it's like a currency of like a world with certain fundamental beliefs about how things should be run, projects, infrastructure, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's much more esoteric.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd say it's like super research driven. And in the same way you invest in a stock is the same way you should invest in a crypto.
Yeah. And I mean, go to the conventions, go to the different stuff. I mean, get involved. It's like, there's tons of chats all over the place. Yeah. Just be careful about the scams. But so you're going to do a podcast as well. Yeah. So that's how we got this conversation. Yeah. So tell the audience about your podcast, where they can find you, where they can follow you, all that, because I'd love to see that like just accelerate to the moon.
So it's called Your First Launch. I started it with Dave Schatz, who is one of my best friends. Brilliant. And he is one of the founders of Gas App, which was the fastest growing consumer social app last year, maybe ever. Don't quote me on that.
Ever. Yeah.
I'm like one of his best friends. So I'm like, he did it. But he's brilliant. Anyway, so we give founders tips on how to scale, how to actually activate your community, how to do the funding, how to like do the hires. And then we'll interview some of our friends who have also done pretty well at a young age. And yeah, I'd say you asked me what drives me. I see business as a game, and I'm really competitive and I'm really curious. So like I think what makes me a really effective founder is I have really high agency and low ego when it comes to killing something that doesn't work. Like I'll ship really quickly, but I'll also kill an idea. Yeah. If it's not producing.
Yeah. I think, you fail fast, right? And then you move on.
Yeah.
So, and that happens to everybody. I think this is successful entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about like, how do some of those entrepreneurs that are coming up, we talk about the boomers and the properties, businesses they own. Talk about that strategy of how they jump from here to a business maybe they don't really love, but it is there and it's in their family and it's maybe their legacy. Like, do you have any thoughts around that? Yeah. I mean, because I always think like, okay, you should be doing what you would want to do. Like if you won the lottery tomorrow and you had billions of dollars, what would you do?
The exact same thing that I'm doing right now.
Right? So you're in the perfect spot. Yeah. So, but most people aren't there. Yeah. And so I think that's where like, they might not want to be in their parents' business. They might not want to be in their grandparents' business. So like, how do you
reconcile with that?
Yeah.
I think it's like, you have to decide if being a means to an end is worth it, right? So like if running the parents' business, that's been making $1 million ARR year over year, consistent, like clientele, that's really worth it. Or even hire out, add some AI fundamentals to it, make it like run itself and then delegate out. If you have a healthy business, like you should 100% keep it going. The other thing too is for new founders who are starting, it has literally never been easier to test any idea. Yeah. You can vibe code a website. You can vibe code an entire like backend database, connect the two, run light ads, hire someone from Fiverr for $50, you know? Yeah. To make the actual creative for it. And yeah, so I say like the market's down. People are scared. People are holding on to like what they have, or businesses are closing down, which is obviously like sad, but it's an opportunity for young people or just anyone who wants to start their own business to test it and see how it responds in the market. So I'd say like leveraging AI. Can I shout out some of my favorite AI tools?
Yeah. Okay.
I love V0. Have you used Vercel?
You know what we'll do is we'll get these, Sam, and then I'm going to put like in the description. Okay, like whatever it is, I'll put in the description.
Okay, sick. So. I love Vercel. It's called V0. Okay. And it lets you, it's really, really strong front end interface. So you can basically like suggest or prompt it with whatever you want your website to look like, color scheme. It'll auto-generate it for you. Okay. There's this other app or a platform called Create Anything. I think it's called like anything.com, or like maybe it's createanything.com.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've never used it.
It's insane. You prompt it and you're like, I want to make an app that looks like Duolingo, same color scheme, but I want it to be about becoming a really effective real estate agent and learning all of that, whatever. Yeah. It'll create it for you, the entire app, in like 5 minutes.
Amazing.
And you can export it. It's so crazy. So that's a really interesting tool. Replit, obviously it's great, lovable. Okay. Super strong. Okay. And these are all platforms that young founders should be leveraging to test their ideas, see how the market responds, and then dedicate resources toward actually building it out.
Yeah. And we always talk about AI too, because we know it's there. So experience with AI, some of these tools are AI, have components of AI at least. So talk about that and how people should be leveraging that and how much you leverage it in your day to day.
I use AI all the time. I like keeping my creative to like real people. I think like the human voice when it comes to humor or design, or I think like I really like having an element of that. But when it comes to like a really simple front end, I'm fine using AI. When it comes to responding to emails, my SDRs, if I want like a team of sales development representatives, that could just be AI driven. But when it comes to like purely creative work or content, I like that being human.
I love it. Yeah, I actually love that too, especially coming from the creative side. You know, everybody's always worried about like their jobs. And so we already have tools that are leveraging our staff from, you know, I mean, let's say 3 years ago, like maybe we could handle 40 projects at a time. Now it's 130 projects. I mean, what's the increase there? Yeah. And we're evaluating another one that'll actually decrease potentially 30% effort on every project, which is huge. And it's like, and it's taking away the mundane. Yeah. So what I would say is that it's taking away some of the junior positions potentially, but it's letting people advance past those into senior positions faster. Totally. Right?
My techno optimist perspective on AI, because everyone's like super doomsday. And I understand like it's a lot of change that will happen soon. Yeah. My techno optimist perspective is that we will have this like neo renaissance where the highest paid people in society will be the true artists, the thought leaders, the philosophers who are like inputting their brains into LLMs and like, you know, contributing thought. So the new age Aristotle won't be just writing books, but like writing models.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it was interesting. I had a conversation yesterday and it was about the prompting side of AI, because if you don't prompt it right, you're not going to get the right set. So if you don't put the right framework around it, you're not going to get the right answer. And so it'll do things in its own way, right? But if you prompt it the right way, it helps you have the discipline of how to even give better instructions to people that are working with you. Yeah. Right. And so if you think about it that way, it's like, I need to be a really good instruction giver. Like, you know, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, now I'm a better leader. And so if you think about it in that way, it can also be very unique. So
it's like with industrialization, they expect people to be able to work less. But it actually wasn't true because like technology made it so much easier for you to do more things. So like your output increased so much more. I think the same thing is going to happen with AI. Yeah. Where our output will just exponentially increase. And I think the people who move now and ship as quickly as possible are best positioned because it'll be way harder to kind of like break through the noise later. The second thing too, I think, is like building community is your wedge. Yeah. Where tech has become so easily accessible and available. It's not being a developer. It's not being like a business with a ton of money. It's like actually effectively building community and audience. Yeah. Because that is what will actually be your moat. Yeah. If you have people engaged, if they feel like you're human, if they're like, I love
Yeah.
What's this podcast called again?
Yeah, regenerative inspiration.
Like all of your community members are like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, you launch something in the future, you have your user base there.
That's exactly
A16Z posted a really interesting stat earlier this year, and it was, I believe, and you can fact check me on this, maybe the text will emerge somewhere.
Right.
That audience first companies are 3 times as likely to hit $1 million in ARR by end of year 1.
Okay.
That's really interesting.
That
Those
is
startups are like statistically likely to fail.
And they have no audience.
Exactly.
So, but if you create the product for the audience that you already have,
Exactly.
and you can keep doing it, right?
So like build in public.
Yeah.
You know, try to like be authentic online. Try to build a community in whatever wedge it is. If it's like podcasting, if it's video content, whatever.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, that's why I told you, I'm like, we're just starting. I have like 40 episodes recorded, but we're only like on episode 5. so we're going to get you out soon on this one. So thank you for joining us on Regenerative Inspiration. I think we're going to have a follow-up one at some point because Dallas is a little too close. So I would love to have that as well as have the conversations, whatever that might be, because that's fantastic. I love it.
I'm excited to listen to the podcast as well grow.
Yes.
Love it.
Join us
so much.
and not leave you hanging and join us, follow us, share it. I think Alex.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I just met Alex, so I had to make sure.
No, we literally eating barbecue 5 minutes ago. So whatever.
So yes, I mean, I think Alex is fantastic, and she's the exact epitome of like what regenerative inspiration is about. And so, I mean, just the explosive, awesome energy and like vision is fantastic. So yeah, keep it up. Everybody at home, pass this to somebody that needs it. If you didn't understand it, don't worry. A lot of people probably didn't.
Just
so,
DM me.
Questions.
Yeah, if you have any questions, DM me.
Yeah. All right. Until next time.
Bye, y'all.